When I was 66 years old, I made a discovery about my own pension that sent a cold shiver down my spine. It was not a market crash or a bad investment I had made. It was something much quieter, something hidden deep inside the paperwork that most of us file away and never look at again. It was a single number, a tiny percentage that seemed utterly insignificant. But as I did the simple math, I realized that this tiny number was a silent fief, a hidden fee that was on track to consume a fortune from my retirement savings over the next 20 years. This is the number one pension mistake I see people make, a danger that can devastate a retirement after 60. Today we are going to pull back the curtain on this serious issue. We will start by exposing the hidden fee that could be eating away at your savings right now. Then we will discuss why your pension, even a professionally managed one, might be dangerously exposed to risk, a specific warning for those of us over 60. I encourage you to stay with me until the end. The third point reveals a simple fix, a single action you can take that can protect your nest egg for your 70s and beyond. Let us begin with the hidden fee eating away at senior savings. We spend our entire working lives diligently putting money aside into our pensions. We trust the large, established companies that manage these funds. We see their logos on tall buildings and their names in financial reports, and we assume they are acting as our partners, as careful guardians of our future. Because of this trust, we rarely question the details. And the financial industry often relies on this. They know that a number like 1% or 1.5% sounds small. It sounds harmless. It is a number so tiny that we are conditioned to ignore it. You are not alone if you have never looked at the specific fees inside your pension plan. Most people do not. And this is where the danger begins. A small leak can sink a great ship, especially if it is left unplugged for many years. I want to tell you a story about two sisters, Mary and Patricia. They were both in their late 60s and had worked in similar administrative roles their whole lives. They both had pensions of a similar size, roughly $400,000 each. Mary was a natural worrier. She was the kind of person who would drive across town to save a few dollars on groceries. Patricia was more relaxed. She believed that life was too short to worry about the small stuff. One day, at their weekly book club meeting, a friend mentioned an article she had read about pension fees. The friend casually remarked how a single percentage point could cost you over $100,000 in retirement. Patricia laughed it off. She said that's what we pay the experts for, to handle it. But the comment stuck with Mary. It gnawed at her. That evening, Mary went home and began a frustrating search. She dug through her filing cabinet, pulling out old, dusty pension statements. The documents were filled with complex language and charts she didn't understand, but she was determined. After nearly an hour, she found it. A tiny line item in the fine print called the annual fund management charge, or sometimes the expense ratio. The number next to it was 1.5%. It seemed so small. Her first reaction was relief, but then she remembered what her friend had said.
$6,000. That was the amount of money she was paying every single year just for them to manage her account. It was more than her annual property tax bill. It was enough for a wonderful vacation. It was a staggering amount of money to her, and it was happening every year, whether her investments went up or down. But the real shock came when she considered the next 20 years of her retirement. $6,000 a year for 20 years was $120,000. That was without even considering the growth that money would have experienced if it had remained invested. The number was so large, it made her feel sick. It was a fortune, a life-changing amount of money that was quietly leaking out of her account. The next day, she called Patricia to share her discovery. Patricia listened, but Mary could tell she was not truly hearing her. Patricia said, "Oh, Mary, you worry too much. It is just the cost of doing business." Patricia never checked her own statements. She remained blissfully unaware that the same silent thief was at work in her own account, slowly draining away her future security. The solution begins with the same simple but powerful act that Mary took. You must find the number. The problem of hidden fees is solved with the bright light of awareness. Somewhere in your pension documents, online or on paper, is your expense ratio. Your first task is to find it. Do not be discouraged if it is difficult to locate. Sometimes it feels like it is hidden on purpose, but you have a right to know exactly what you are paying. Once you find that number, do the same simple math. Multiply it by your total pension value. This will show you your annual cost in real dollars. This is not small stuff. This is your life savings. Understanding this cost is the first and most crucial step in taking back control of your financial future and plugging the leak in your ship. Now let us talk about why your pension is dangerously exposed, a warning for over 60s. Even if you find and manage your fees, there is another, more subtle danger lurking. It has to do with how your money is actually invested. Many of us are enrolled in what are called target date funds or lifestyle funds. These are the default options in most pension plans. The idea is simple and very appealing. You pick a fund that is named for the year you plan to retire, for example, a 2025 target date fund. The fund automatically manages your investments for you, starting out aggressively with more stocks when you are young, and then supposedly getting more conservative with more bonds as you approach your retirement date. It is marketed as a set-it-and-forget-it solution. But this is where the danger for a retiree lies. The problem is that retirement is not a single date on a calendar. It's a long journey that could last 20, 30, or even 40 years. The managers of these funds have a very different definition of conservative than you might. They are still trying to generate growth, so even after you have retired, a target date fund can hold a very large percentage of your money in the volatile stock market. You might think your money is safe, but you could still be exposed to a 50 or 60% allocation to stocks. For a young person, a big market drop is a buying opportunity. For someone in their late 60s or early 70s who is now living off that money, a big market drop can be a catastrophe. You do not have decades to wait for it to recover. A large loss early in your retirement can permanently cripple the long-term health of your nest egg. I want you to consider the story of a man named Robert. Robert was a proud 65-year-old who had just retired from his career as a project manager. He felt he had done everything right. He had saved diligently into his company pension for 40 years. His plan was in a 2020 target date fund. He trusted the process completely. He imagined his money was now sitting in something safe like cash or government bonds. He started making his regular monthly withdrawals and didn't think much more about it. A couple of years into his retirement, the market went through a sharp correction. The news was filled with stories of falling stock prices. Robert was not worried. He thought, "That's a problem for young people. My pension is safe now."
One day, his quarterly statement arrived in the mail. He opened it casually, and his heart sank. The total value of his pension had fallen by nearly 15%. It was a loss of tens of thousands of dollars. He was stunned and confused. How could this happen? The fund was supposed to be safe. He called his friend Frank, a retired accountant, in a panic. Frank was a calm and methodical man. He asked Robert to find the specific details of his 2020 target date fund online. Together, over the phone, they looked at the fund's holdings. Robert was shocked to discover that his safe retirement fund was still 55% invested in stocks. Frank used an analogy that Robert, a keen sailor, understood immediately. He said, "Robert, you have sailed your boat into the harbor, but you have left the main sails fully up. You think you are safe at anchor, but you are completely exposed to any sudden storm that blows through. A target date fund does that.
It brings you into the harbor, but it does not tell you to take the sails down. This brings us to a crucial realization, the moment of insight that can protect you. The common, deeply held belief is that a target date fund is a personalized automatic pilot for your retirement. The aha moment is understanding that it is not personal at all. It is a generic, one-size-fits-all product that has no idea about your unique life. The fund does not know that you have a health condition that might require expensive care. It does not know that your specific tolerance for risk is now 0. It does not know that you need to preserve your capital above all else because you are depending on it for your grocery bills next month. The biggest risk you face in retirement is the belief that an automated system knows what is best for you. It does not. Its goals are not your goals. The convenience of set it and forget it becomes a serious liability when your personal safety is on the line. The solution is to turn off the automatic pilot and take manual control of the helm. If you are still watching and finding this valuable, please let us know by commenting with the number 2 below. If you have not already, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss our future videos. Your support is what keeps this channel going. Now, let us move forward. Finally, let us discuss the simple fix to protect your nest egg in your 70s and beyond. Hearing about hidden fees and hidden risks can be deeply unsettling. The natural reaction is to feel overwhelmed, perhaps even a little helpless. You might be thinking, this is all too complicated. I'm not a financial expert. I'm afraid I will make things worse if I try to change anything. This feeling of paralysis is exactly what keeps so many people stuck in expensive, high-risk funds that are not right for their stage of life. They fear the process, imagining mountains of paperwork and confusing choices. But the truth is, the fix is often surprisingly simple. Let us return to the story of Robert. After his shocking discovery, he felt completely lost. He told his friend Frank, "I cannot do this. I do not know how to pick stocks or funds. I'm just a project manager, not an investor. I'm bound to make a mess of it." Frank listened patiently. Then he said something that calmed Robert immediately. He said, "Robert, you do not need to become a Wall Street wizard. You do not have to pick the perfect investment. You just have to get out of the wrong one. And your pension plan already has the safe, simple options waiting for you. You just need to ask for them." Frank explained that within every large pension system, alongside the complicated target date funds, there are usually a few very basic, very low-cost funds. He called them the plain vanilla options, things like a simple equity index fund that just tracks the whole market. Or more importantly for Robert, a capital preservation fund or a stable value fund. These are designed specifically for people who want safety above all else.
The simple fix is not a complex financial maneuver. It is a single phone call and 2 simple questions. This is the action you can take. The first step is to find the phone number for your pension provider. It is on your statement. The second step is to call them and ask to make a change to your investments. When you speak to a representative, you only need to ask for 2 pieces of information. Question 1. I would like to know which fund in my plan has the absolute lowest annual fee or expense ratio. They are required to tell you this. Question 2. I would also like to know which fund is your most conservative option, such as a capital preservation or stable value fund, designed to protect my money from market declines. Robert, with Frank's encouragement, made the call. He was nervous as he dialed the number, but the person on the other end was just a helpful representative. Robert read his 2 questions from the piece of paper in front of him. The representative put him on hold for a moment and came back with clear answers. There was a simple index fund with a fee of just 0.1%, a fraction of the 1.5% he was currently paying.
And there was a capital preservation fund designed to never lose value. Robert made a decision right there on the phone. He instructed the representative to move his money from the expensive and risky 2020 target date fund into the two much safer, cheaper options. The call took 15 minutes. There was no complex paperwork, just a verbal confirmation. A few days later, he received a letter confirming the change. For the first time in years, Robert felt a profound sense of relief. He had faced the problem and he had fixed it. He was no longer a passive passenger in a system he did not understand. He was the captain of his own ship, and he had chosen a safe and calm harbor. This is the power you have. The simple fix is about reclaiming control. It is about moving from the complex, expensive, and risky default to the simple, cheap, and safe alternative that is already waiting for you inside your plan. Your retirement savings represent a lifetime of hard work and discipline. You have earned the right to a retirement free from the anxiety of financial uncertainty. By taking these simple steps, by finding the hidden fees, by understanding the true risk in your portfolio, and by making a simple phone call to switch to a safer option, you are not just managing your money, you are protecting your peace of mind. You are taking back control from the automated systems and making a conscious choice for your own security and well-being. This is the most valuable investment you will ever make. We would love for you to share your experience. Without giving any personal details, leave a comment below if you have ever found a hidden fee in a plan and how it felt to take control back. Your story can inspire someone else to check their own. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.